ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaurabhraganya Gana Gocha Goloruharam Gauranga Gurutama Gopyada Kopa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshikavaram Satatam Namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Tachiya Dileka Kola Kahe Premananda Hemona Gauranga Hridoya Dariya Bola Bhaja Gauranga Kaha Gauranga Laha Gaurangera Namure Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Prana Re Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yasyaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema-bhakti-candrika Padama Pumarta Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madhgavirapi Gopala Sri Kriyat Kripaya Jadi Tadaiva Sampaya Pitva Rishi Yustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunatapta Brajabala Bapahimam Vanchakopatarubhischa Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Krishna Nama Amrita Bharshi Vaktra Chandra Prabhadvasta Tumo Baraya Gauranga Deva Anucharaya Namo Namah Srila Narottamaya. Again and again, I offer my obeisances unto Srila Narottam Das Thakur. He's indeed a true follower of Lord Gauranga Dev. The nectarian shower of the holy name, radiating from the moon of his mouth, destroys the darkness of ignorance. So somehow, I don't know how, but we were back here in New Brajadam with the wonderful devotees here. It's a great blessing. And we're feeling very, very happy to be back here. Yadu Kumar Prabhu started a new business. He's charging devotees to sit in these wonderful chairs. I don't know how much he charges, but he should give me a percentage. Thank you, Prabhu. That's great. Oh. So, I've been reading from Prema-bhakti-candrika, and sometimes I get a little nervous with Prema-bhakti-candrika because Narottam Das Thakur is a madman, and he's a real Radhanuga. He's really a follower of Srimati Radharani. And we're getting now, our last session was on text number 109. I think there's 120 verses or something in the book. We're getting toward the end of the book, and he's really opening up his heart and so many very intimate things. Let's look back at the last verse, and then we'll go on to today's verse, which I feel more comfortable with, and I'll explain why. So last session, Krishna nama ghani bhai, Radhika charana pai, Radha nama ghani Krishna Chandra. Sangshepa kahila kata guchao manera vyata dukkha moya anya kata dvandva. He says it, "O brother, simply by chanting the names of Krishna, one can receive the lotus feet of Radhika. And by chanting the names of Radhika, one can receive the lotus feet of Krishna. Thus I briefly explained everything by which you will be relieved from the pains of your heart. All other topics are full of miseries and dualities." Now why, we spoke in our last session, why he says, dukkha moya anya kata dvandva. Why is he worried about the pain in the heart from somebody? He's speaking such nice things. Why someone's going to have some pain in their heart? Hare Krishna. Because in the previous verse, he said that even if somebody to the effect if someone's even attached to Krishna, but they're not interested in Radha, then I don't even want to hear their name. In the previous verse, he says, I don't want to see their face. And so why that hurts their heart? Well, because some people, they're very attached to worshiping Krishna. But it's not just as simplistic as that. Sometimes it's a little bit much for me to talk about neophyte devotees because I'm a neophyte devotee. But sometimes I think, it's a good chair. Sometimes I think that neophyte devotees, they prematurely want to be very rasik. And they hear something about Sthayi Bhav, they hear something about Manjari Bhav, and they decide, I want Radha Dashyam, and that's and who's Krishna anyway? I'm not interested in that, and just Radhe, 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 and they just want to chant like that. I know I've met a few people like that over the years. That's okay. But we understood from this previous verse that we just read the translation of, that we also worship Krishna. And if someone's very attached to worshiping Krishna, and Narottam Das Thakur is speaking about the importance of worshiping Radha, don't feel bad. We also like to worship Krishna. And our commentators have explained that because when you worship Radharani, you're also worshiping Krishna. You can't worship Radharani without worshiping Krishna. And how do we worship Radharani? We oftentimes give an analogy that if somehow, someday, you got an invitation in the mail, in the post, Yadu Kumar, please come, Radharani wants to talk to you in the Kunj. Oh my God. He goes running like a madman there. And maybe when he comes into the Kunj, he starts, because he wants to please Radharani, he starts chanting, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, 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 like this. What would Radharani do? I haven't been there, so I can't say exactly. But I think that she might say, what are you doing making all that noise? Stop it. Chant Krishna, Krishna. So we chant the names of Krishna, and some Vaishnavas, they think, oh, that's for neophytes. I'm into chanting Radhe, Radhe. But they have a misunderstanding. And as we spoke in our last session, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Bhagavat, he says, Jadiyama, Pratisneha Taki Sabakar Tabi Krishna Vyati Rikta Nagai Bihar. He said, don't chant my name. Don't chant. He said, chant Krishna's name. If you love me, you love my instructions. Jadiyama Pratisneha Taki Sabakar. Chant Krishna's name. We chant Krishna's name because our bhajan is meant to be service to Radharani. Our bhajan is service to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we hear in Chaitanya Charitamrita that one day in Jagannath Puri, there was a group of ecstatic devotees, and they started chanting Gauranga, Gauranga over and over again. And Mahaprabhu was in the Gambhira, and Advaitacharya came, and he said, what are they doing? What kind of noise are they making out there? He said, oh, they're chanting, and you tell them, stop that. Mahaprabhu, when devotees would address him as Krishna, he would put his fingers in his ears and run away. But in the bhajan of Srup Damodar and Roy Ramananda, which is the kirtan of our sampradaya, which we speak about quite often, their bhajan is very extraordinary because most people, when they do bhajan, like most Hindus, They're praying to get some money, get a good wife, get their daughter married, get liberation, maybe if they're a little more pious. But Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they're not interested. Nadanam najanam sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishvari bhavatad bhakti rohitakitvaye. They don't want any of those things. They're simply wanting bhakti. But Srup Damodar and Roy Ramananda and their bhajan, they're not praying for bhakti. Their bhajan is quite extraordinary. Their bhajan is not for themselves. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta comments on this. Even Srimati Radharani, we read in Lalita Madhav of Rupa Goswami. It's a long story. But there was one deity of Krishna, and she started worshipping the deity. And she was praying to give me something. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta comments, everybody, when they're worshipping, they want something from that personality. Even Radharani. What was she praying? She's praying to the deity, please become a living person. I want to be with Krishna. That was Radharani's prayer. Everyone has some prayer. But Srup Damodar and Roy Ramananda, they have no prayer. And this is why Krishna says, Naparayam, Niravadyasam, Yujam Svasadu Krityam Vibudaya Sapiva. I don't know how to repay you, because you don't want anything. They're doing bhajan. It's extraordinary. Everyone does bhajan. So many people, they worship in temples and mosques and churches all over the world. And they're praying for different material benefits or something, maybe for liberation, maybe very rarely for bhakti. But Srup Damodar and Roy Ramananda are not praying for that. Their bhajan is not for themselves. Their bhajan is for the pleasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes, where's Krishna Kun when I need her? Maybe Leela's here. What is the verse I'm thinking of? Our Krishna bhajan is our Guru Seva. Tate, thank you. Tate Krishna bhaje kore Guru Sevan. Tate Krishna bhaje kore Guru Sevan. I'm doing Krishna bhajan, but my Krishna bhajan is my Guru Seva. And what is my Guru Seva? It's Krishna bhajan, because he's so pleased by that. Any new devotee can understand this. It's not so complicated. When you go out to distribute books, you meet someone. Sometimes the person's so nice. This is amazing. Oh my God, what do I do? Well, just chant this mantra. See right here in the book, and they really Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and they start chanting. How do you feel? You feel so ecstatic. Wow, somebody chanted today. This is so wonderful. Gurudev, Sadhu Vaishnava, feels the same way when the Vaishnavas are chanting. It's not that maybe we're thinking, yeah, I'll become a guru. And then I'll get the Mahaprasad every day. And I'll get lots of money, donations on Vyas Puja Day or something. Somebody may be thinking like that. But Sadhu Vaishnava doesn't want anything for themselves. They may accept that worship, but they're doing it. My grandma's, there was one, Mataji was living outside, and she had a family. She was very busy. She couldn't do service. She pleaded, please give me some service. Grandma said, you make a garland, flower garland, every day for me. The devotees, so many different devotees are making garlands for him, like sometimes 20 or 30 different garlands every day for Bhagavatam class. Every day. They'd be piled up so high you'd have to take them off. You wouldn't be able to see his face. And so many garlands every day. And one day she was sick or something. She didn't make the garland. And he called for her. Hey, you didn't do your service? It's not because he wants it for himself, but that's her service. That's an important thing. So this is the kirtan of our sampradaya. We're followers of Srup Damodar Goswami's Lalita Sakhi in the Gambhira. We're followers of Roy Ramananda. We're followers of Rupa Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami are also there. And they're Muda Bhajan. So I'm going to go on to the next verse, today's verse now. Nice to see Gorni Tai's here too. We'll have to have some Hungarian kata or something at the end maybe. So let's go to today's verse here. Oops. I didn't really have much of a chance to prepare today's discussion like I normally do. I had about I don't know, 10 minutes or something. But I did something. And it's a really nice topic. Okay. So this is depending on the version of Prema-bhakti-candrika that you're reading from. I think probably everybody in this session, if you're reading it, you're reading from Ishwar Prabhu's version, which would be chapter 10, text 11. And some versions, it's text number 111. Some Bengali versions. The numbering's just a little different. Ahankara abhimana asat sanga asajgana chadi bhaja guru pada padma koro atma nibedana deha geha parijana guru bhakya parama mahatma. So Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Ahankara abhimana, asat sanga asat jnana, chari bhaja guru parapadma. Give up. He starts off with a list of things which we don't want. Ahankara. Give up your false ego. Abhiman. You give up your pride. Asat sanga. Give up associating with evil persons, non-devotees. Asat jnana. Give up cultivating useless information. Chari bhaja guru parapadma. And you give all those things up. You do that by worshipping Guru Parapadma, the lotus feet of Guru Dev. Koro atma nibidan deha geha parijan guru bhakya parama mahatva. And how do we particularly do that? Koro atma nibidan, we give everything to Guru Dev. Deha Geha Parijan, we offer our house. This is not Yadu Kumar Prabhu's house. This is Shivaram Maharaj's house. You put a sign outside Shivaram Maharaj's house. It's not the house of that household, it's the house of Gurudev. Deha Geha Parijana, Guru Bhakya Parama Mahatva. And very, very important is Guru Bhakya, the instructions from Gurudev. I'll read the translation. He says, give up false pride, false ego and pride, giving up bad association, endeavoring for useless material knowledge. Give that up. Worship the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Surrender your body, home, and family members unto him. The words from the lotus mouth of the spiritual master are supremely important. So this verse describes both some instructions, and it describes a process. We should give up ahankar. We should give up false ego. We should give up abhiman, pride. We should give up association with bad non-devotees. We should give up cultivating mundane knowledge, chari. But how do we do all those things? Bhaja Guru Pada Padma. It's not such an easy thing. We've met many people in this world. When we're doing book distribution, we're preaching on the streets. Many people who were little interested. There was one lady today on the train, very nice lady. She's asking many questions. We gave her a Krishna sticker. I didn't have a book, but she was very happy with that, and told her about Krishna Valley, something. So many people are interested. So many people interested in Krishna Valley, and they're coming here, but they can't move in. They can't start chanting and things. Why is that? Because there's some ahankar. There's some false ego. I am. And I saw today a beautiful crowd of people coming before Radhi Sham for darshan, some outside people. And I was watching, they're all wearing like lungi things wrapped around their waist, the men and the ladies both. And that says something. It says something about the devotees here, that please, when you come before Radhi Sham, you should dress decently. And it's hot out, it's the middle of the summer, so people, they dress in a warm way. But it also says something about the ahankara. People, they advertise their body and they become very, very attached to their bodies. And this is why when we come before Radhi Sham, it's not just that they get embarrassed when they see some girl wearing some tight shorts or something like that. But it's not appropriate. You're coming before Radha Shamsundar, and this is for them. Not that you want to attract attention to yourself. So some people can't give that up. That ahankara, that idea that I'm a beautiful young girl, I'm a strong young man, I'm a this, I'm a that. They're very attached to that. We're very attached to that, even after so many years as devotees. We have this ahankara, we have this abhiman, that yes, I'm an important person. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says in one article, a very interesting point he makes, he says that Gurudev is that person who, no matter how many people praise him, never loses the vision of himself as being the servant of his Gurudev. Because abhiman means some pride that I'm this, I'm that. And it's just like when you go shopping for clothing or something, what should I buy? Some nice summer clothes or something really hip or something fashionable or this or that. And what is my mood? How do I want to advertise myself? We're always looking for identification our whole lives. And as soon as someone comes and says, Prabhu, that was a great kirtan. That was a great class. Then we start thinking, because we're looking for something, who am I? Who am I? Oh yeah, that's me. I'm a great kirtaniya. I'm a great pujari. I'm a great speaker of Krishna Katha. I'm good at this or that. But we have to give up that abhiman. Everything belongs to Gurudev. How do we give up this abhiman? How do we give up this ahankar? How do we give up a satsanga? It's a very difficult thing. So many people come to Krishna Valley. They love it. I see their faces. They love it. This is just amazing. And even they take books. And they're a little inspired. But why is it that they can't continue more? Because of us at Sangha. They're associating with some person. We have a friend in Kazakhstan who, this Mataji, someone gave her a book one day. And she read Prabhupada's book, and this is amazing, and she brought it home. Her husband discovered it. And her husband was not a very nice person. Her husband burned the book. This is nonsense. You can't have this. And she was very hurt. Somehow she got another book. And she hid the second book. And then she started chanting japa. If he would find the japa, mala, or book, he would burn them, throw them away. So she would have to go, when he would go to work, she would go for a walk in the forest or something and chant her japa and things. And of course, because she's starting to become a devotee, what does she want to do? She cooks prasadam for her husband. And he comes home one day and she's got like 10 items and pakoras and chutney and sweet rice and all these different things. And he just looked at it. He said, "Where's the meat?" And she said, there's no meat. Ha! And he wouldn't touch it. He was really a demon. And then this went for some time. And then one day he brought a friend home from work. And the wife cooked a big feast, prasadam. And his friend said, "This is amazing. Your wife is such a good cook." And then the man said, yes, she's very good. Like this. Anyway, to get to the final conclusion, he recently purchased a house for his wife and his daughter in Vrindavan. that same demoniac person. I don't know how I got, because of us at Sangha. It's very hard because of his friends at work and things, and people, they have their pride. And that association just reinforces that so much. And then us again, people that wanting to cultivate all kinds of useless knowledge, even devotees. I see even devotees, I'm sorry, I read the news, I'm sorry, a lot of devotees don't do that. I heard that in the 70s, Tripurai Maharaj made this comment once, that in the 70s in Los Angeles, devotees didn't even know who the president was of the United States. They were just going out for book distribution and Harinam. They were so absorbed, and that's really first class. There's no need for these other things. It's not good. But at the same time, I see some people get so much into it, and they decide this person is good, and they pick some guy, Putin or Trump or this one or that one, and this guy is the real. And even then, we were talking earlier, then sometimes worse yet, they want to fight with other devotees about it. Where are you from? Oh, you're not good. We don't like you for that. So how do we give up all these things? It's not an easy thing. Charibhaja Guru Pada Padma. By taking shelter of Guru Pada Padma, taking shelter of the lotus feet of Gurudev. Koro Atmanibedan Deha Geha Parijan. And what does it mean to do that? He says immediately, it's not just that I put a photograph on the wall of Gurudev giving me some beads. Big photo, like that, see, I'm a disciple. No, but Koro Atma Nibedan, it means, Koro means to do, Koro Atma, it means that you surrender fully. Deha Geha Parijan. It means with your body, with your house, with your family, you give everything to Gurudev. And if you do that, and how do we do that also? The final line describes Guru Bhakya Parama Mahatva, by the instructions of Gurudev. What is the function of Gurudev? Oftentimes we cite this saying they have in Orissa, Kona Funka Guru. Kona means the ear. And Funka means to spit. Kona Funka Guru, some guru who just spits in the ear. In other words, it means that we're not taking Gurudev very seriously. Gurudev's just giving, he's mantra datta. That he's just giving me mantra, and that's all. But my grandma used to say, he's ashraya datta. He's giving us shelter. He's giving us shelter in the form of Krishna Katha, in the form of his instructions. And that's parampara. He speaks his qualification. The qualification of Gurudev is he speaks what he's heard. He just repeats. And he doesn't think that it belongs to him. That person who's not influenced by so many people saying, oh, that was so nice, you're so special, that person's Guru. They're not disturbed in their attitude of their service to their Gurudev. So let's look at a translation Ishwar Prabhu put together of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purport. Vishwanath quotes a couple verses. The first is from Bhagavatam 11, 26-26. Tato dusangam utsrija satsu sajjeta buddhiman santa evasya chindanti manovya sangam ukti bihi. Many similar words in this Sanskrit verse to what Nautam was saying in today's verse. Translation, an intelligent person should therefore reject all bad association and instead take up the association of saintly devotees whose words cut off the excessive attachment of one's mind. So my Gurus used to say the function of Sadguru, the function of Sri Guru is to speak Krishna Katha. That's what Gurudev is for. What do you do with Gurudev? I just put his picture up and offer some incense and say, Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev. Once a year, Gurudev is so kind, I get to have some cake on Vyas Puja Day. He's a good guru. Gurudev is not just for that. Prabhupada wrote in his prayers of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, I can't remember the Bengali, but he said that the purpose of the Vyas Puja program is not just full of Mahotsava, not just having a festival of fruits and flowers. That's not the real thing. The real person is Vani Seva, to serve the message of Gurudev, and that's why he's coming. He's an emissary, as Prabhupada used to say, he's a postman. And we're worshiping him, just like if a postman brings you $1 million, you won the lottery. Yadu Kumar, here you go, $1 million. And Yadu Kumar is so excited, he gives a big hug to the postman. The money's not coming from the postman. He's just handing it over to you, but you're so happy, thank you. You give him a big hug. So we worship Gurudev in the same way, not because I really like the way Gurudev talks, or I like the way Gurudev looks, he's like this or that. That's how personality cults begin. But we worship Gurudev because of what he speaks. We see Gurudev through the ears. It's such a very, very important. Neophyte devotees, they're just seeing Gurudev is great because Gurudev has a lot of followers. Gurudev made a nice temple. Gurudev has a long beard, a long hair. He looks like this or that, or he's a Prabhupada disciple even, or this or that. Those are okay things, but Gurudev has come to speak Krishna Katha. And the function of the disciples to hear. And Guru Maharaj used to tell us that after the disciple hears, and Gurudev says, now you speak. And what does the disciple do? He just repeats what he's heard from his guru. And Guru Maharaj called, he said, that's the kirtan of the disciple. Shravanam kirtanam Vishnu smaranam padasevanam archanam vandam dashyam sakyam atmanivedam. There's Navavidi bhakti. But it begins Shravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu smaranam. There's a sequence. It begins with hearing. Once we were in Bhubaneswar and Guru Maharaj was giving classes every day, and there was one sannyasi who came. At that time he was initiated by Kirtanananda. Now he's a regular ISKCON sannyasi in India. I don't think, he's not very well known. His name was Shukadev Maharaj. He's still acting and preaching and things. So he came to Bhubaneswar, spent some time there, listening to class every day, very simple devotee. And one day he came to me somehow and he said, Madhavananda, I want to meet with your Guru Maharaj. I have some questions for him. I said, sure, would you take me? I said, great. So I went in to see Guru Maharaj with this sannyasi. And Shukadev Maharaj had this question, he had a doubt. He said, Maharaj, your classes are amazing. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. But I don't understand. There's like over 100 Western devotees here, and every day they're hearing class, and they're not doing service. They're not going out and doing Harinam. They're not doing, sometimes we were going out and doing Harinam on a regular basis, actually, some of us. But a lot of the devotees weren't doing anything. And he said, Maharaj, you should tell them to go out and do something. And Guru Maharaj's reaction was very interesting, because generally, Sukadeva Maharaj's point is a very good point. That's something Prabhupada said many times. You should go out. You should preach. You should do something. Don't just sit around and ring bells and play the harmonium and chant, but go do some service. But Guru Maharaj replied to him, he said, Are Baba. He said, what kind of service will they do if they don't hear first? So that was his vision with the devotees there. He wanted us to hear. And he had the understanding that by hearing, by understanding the mood of Gurudev, then you can do service. But that kirtan is based on Shravan. Not that you just go out and do kirtan. As Bibi Govinda Maharaj told a story here one year in New Brajadam, he said that he joined in Butler, Pennsylvania. Was it Butler? No, it wasn't Butler, Pennsylvania. It was, I'm thinking of another place. It was upstate New York. Anyway, I can't remember the name of the town. I haven't been there before either. But he said he joined the temple, and after 2 weeks, the temple president came to him and said, you've been here for 2 weeks. You're a senior devotee now. You should become the temple commander. It was a different era at that time. And he said, okay, well, what do I do? And the temple commander brought him in front of the altar and said, so you should take care of Jagannath. And there was Jagannath, Bali, Subhadra. And Govinda Maharaj said he'd been there for 2 weeks. This was the first time he noticed Jagannath. Before that, he just thought there was some far-out Indian altar, I don't know, some pictures or some. He didn't pay attention to it. And so he, oh, okay. And then he turned to the temple president. He said, well, who is that? And the temple president said, I don't know. That was the particular time. This is a different time now. At that time, it was a great emergency, and Prabhupada was sending devotees out. It's still an emergency. But there's a need now also for devotees to hear Shravan. And then by hearing properly, you can do proper kirtan. And then by doing kirtan of the Shravan that we heard, then Vishnu Smarana automatically comes in a natural way. So the function of the disciples to hear from Guru, and then the Guru says, now you speak. And what will he speak? He'll repeat what he's heard from Guru. That's the kirtan. He called it the kirtan of the disciple. So let's go back to Vishnu's purport. The following evidence is also cited. Divyang Danangara Kulabhimano Dehari Daratmaja Nitya Buddhaya Ishtanya Devana Falakangshino Ye Jivan Mitante Nalabante Keshavam. Those who are puffed up by their material knowledge, wealth, house, family, etc., and considering their bodies and bodily byproducts such as wife and children as eternal, as well as accepting other demigods as their worshipable Lord in order to receive some temporary benefits, are actually dead, although living. Such people cannot attain Lord Krishna. Now, we should, Jiva Goswami in Paramatma Sandarbha, he explains 6 different ways to understand a book. And one of them is the audience that the author is speaking to. Another is what does he begin with, what does the end with, what is the conclusion, what is the theme that which is followed throughout the book, what is the purpose of the author. You have to see things in the context also. So we're wanting to understand this verse from Narottam Das Thakur, and he's saying something which we've probably heard many times. Ahankara, abhimana, asatsanga, asagyana, jati. Give up false ego, give up your pride, give up bad association, just worship Gurudev. But let's see it in the context. He was just speaking to us previously about the gopis and how to worship them and about the ekantic association with Radharani. And now all of a sudden, he's speaking about all these things, give up false bad association and just worship Gurudev. And this is kind of a circular thing because in the very beginning of the book, he begins Prema-bhakti-candrika with a famous song, Shri Guru Charana Padma. So he begins by worship of Gurudev, and now he's coming in a full circle, indicating the full context of worshiping Gurudev. It's not just that we worship Gurudev and then we get something. I got a nice service. I got some position in ISKCON. Now I have a Brahmin thread. I'm a Brahmin. I'm a famous person. I don't need Gurudev anymore. And we give up Gurudev. No, Gurudev is always there. And so this verse is speaking about the importance of the order of Gurudev. In Teachings of Lord Kapila Dev, Srila Prabhupada spoke about this. Teachings of Lord Kapila Dev is a book both with Prabhupada's purports to Kapila Samvad in the 3rd canto of the Bhagavatam where he speaks to his mother, and also with lectures that Prabhupada gave on the topic. So Prabhupada speaks in the 13th chapter there, we have to render service to a guru and surrender ourselves. It's not that one should accept just any person as a guru. The guru must be the representative of Krishna. Then one can surrender oneself. That's a very important point. It's not, even someone may be an ISKCON devotee. Let's just be really blunt. We've seen sometimes devotees in ISKCON, and even they may be giving some good instructions, but if they're doing that service of being guru for themselves, so they'll become famous, or they'll become wealthy, they're important or something, that's not the function of guru. Guru is someone who comes to give everything for Krishna. As my grandma used to say, guru is like a pipe who's just giving the water. And there's no blockage. If you have some electrical wiring, they'll ask you when you're making the wiring, what is the resistance? How much resistance is there? Well, Gurudev is that person who's no resistance. That's Sadguru. There's no resistance. Everything's coming through. And he doesn't say, I'm the source of the water, or I'm the source of the electricity, but I'm plugging in, I'm connecting you with this thing, and that's my function, is to connect you. And because it's so important, we worship him because Krishna's coming through that personality. And so that's the representative of Krishna. Prabhupada says, surrender means that one will accept whatever the Guru's, not to things, I don't care for my Guru's order, but still I'm a disciple. That is not actually accepting a Guru. Of course, it's become a fashion to accept a Guru in this way, but this will not help anyone. It's a fashion. And some people, sometimes even because we have so many people that we're preaching to in our society, it's also a fashion for some people in our society. I remember one devotee told me once that actually it's not necessary for me to have a guru because I was born in Vrindavan. I accepted a guru, but it's just external. I don't really need to do that. And I felt very, very sad. It's kind of like someone who wants to move to Hungary, so they marry a nice Hungarian girl. That wasn't me, but they marry a Hungarian girl so they can come here. If that's their only purpose, then what kind of relationship are they going to have? Is it going to be satisfying? It's not going to be. So we want to have a relationship with Guru. Guru is a relationship. It's not just an ecclesiastical position, as Srila Prabhupada says in the first chapter, of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says that Jiva Goswami says we should not accept the Guru for some ecclesiastical purpose. What does that mean? Well, it means we're in a society of devotees. And sometimes they say after 2, 3, 4 years, Prabhu, you're still not initiated? You're still bhakta this? You should get initiated. What's wrong with you? And sometimes there's some pressure, especially depending on where you're at. The devotees will pressure that up to take initiation from the Guru where everybody's around. And some people then, I should do that because then everybody will like me. if I get a spiritual name like that, then everybody's going to like me and I'll be well accepted. That's not bad. I don't mean to be harsh. That's not a bad thing to do. It's better than what so many people do in this world. But that's not the purpose of Guru. Gurudev has come to speak Krishna Katha. And if someone thinks they accept Guru but they're not interested in following the instructions of Guru, then it's just some show, it's just a fashion, Prabhupada said. And Prabhupada said, it's not going to help anyone. We have to have some instruction from Gurudev. Prabhupada says in Science of Self-Realization in chapter 8, let's see, he speaks also about the instruction of Guru. Therefore, as far as possible, one has to execute the order of one's spiritual master. That will enable one to progress. That is the essence of the favorable execution of Krishna consciousness. That order of Gurudev is the essence of the favorable execution of Krishna consciousness. In my old age, Prabhupada said, I've come to America and I'm trying to teach Krishna consciousness because my spiritual master gave me an order that I must do it. It's my duty. I do not know whether I shall be a success or failure. It doesn't matter. My duty is completed if I can present before you whatever I've heard from my spiritual master. This is called the favorable execution of Krishna consciousness. Those who are actually serious should take the order of Krishna through the representative of Krishna as their entire life and soul. One who sticks to this principle is sure to progress. There's so many things on this subject matter. We could give a seminar for weeks. There's a nice verse here from Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan's Prema-bhakti-candrika. Let's share that with you, and then we'll go on a little bit. Sat seva, guru seva cha, deva bhavena ched bhavet, dadaisa bhagavad bhakti labhyante nanyatak vachit. If one engages in the service of the devotees, Sat seva, Guru seva, and the spiritual master, Chadeva bhavena ched bhavet, considering them to be equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is how we should treat Gurudev. This is how we should treat senior Vaishnavas. like Krishna's coming before me, and this is also described, where is that? Oh, in the seventh canto of the Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj describes it, that he saw the godbrothers of his guru, like his guru, and he saw the senior disciples to be like his guru, and worship them in that way. So someone who does like that, the Daisha Bhagavad Bhakti Labhyate Nanyata Kvachit, they can attain Bhagavad Bhakti, they can attain devotional service of the Lord. Labhyate Nanyata Kvachit, there's no other way in which this can be obtained. So some people, they think that they can just worship the Lord. Some people say, what's the problem? I have such a nice program every day. I go before the deities in the morning, I chant Hare Krishna, I do Tulsi Puja, I chant 16 rounds, or maybe I chant 64 rounds, or 128 rounds, or whatever. I'm chanting so many rounds, and I'm living in the Dham. What is a necessity? If I accept a guru, then he may give me some harsh instruction. He may tell me to take sannyas. He may tell me to get married. That's even worse. He may tell me to go out and do book distribution or do a business or this. That's so many problems with that. I'm not going to accept that. But unless we have that guidance, unless we have that instruction with us, I saw this with many of my godbrothers. After Guru Maharaj left this world, so many of them who were sitting every day, practically there was a riot every day when our Guru Maharaj would give Bhagavatam class. You can see so many devotees were crowding in, wanting to sit right up front. I was always sitting right up front. I had a big bag of books, and Guru Maharaj would quote some verse, and he was looking, he prepared his kathas, and he would look something up in Sanskrit, and then he would say, Madhavananda, read the translation. So he's quoting some verse, and I'm, where's that from? I had so many books in the bag. So I was always sitting up front. Devotees were very intense. Devotees really had Guru Bhakti. They really loved Gurudev. They want to hear from Gurudev. But when Guru Maharaj left this world, what happened? Hare Krishna. So many of them left. Most of them, the Westerners especially, they went to some other sadhus, mostly, here and there, and they're practicing bhakti. I'm not qualified to judge them, but I feel sad. And I remember one of them one day came to me in Bhubaneswar, and he said, he was actually confused. I was the only one who stayed. Everybody else left, and I was still there. And he said, Madhavananda, what are you doing? You should come to Vrindavan and associate with Maharaj, get some sadhu sangha and that. And he was sincere and he was confused. What are you doing here? And I said, well, I appreciate you care about me. And you want me to go and have association like this. I also want to have association. Association is so important. I said, but Guru Maharaj gave me some instructions. He told me I should make a magazine. And can you look me in the eye? I asked him, can you look me in the eye and tell me, if I go to your mutt, your place, with your Maharaj, can you look me in the eye and tell me I'll continue my service? Because I see so many devotees who went there, I don't see any of them who are still continuing their service. And he was he was quiet for a moment. And then I told him, I said, Guru Maharaj wants me to have advanced association more than I want it. He wants me to have that. But if I neglect the instruction that I got, and I go to some other person, then why will he give me? Why will he send me association? I'm not depending on him. I don't need him. I'm acting that way. I'll go somewhere else. I said, I'm convinced Guru Maharaj will give me association if I do that. And he was quiet again. He said, I guess so. And I became a little annoyed. I said, what do you mean you guess so? How can you think Guru Maharaj is dead? Or Guru Maharaj is a weak person? He can't help? Definitely. And he has. In so many different wonderful ways. He's still sending association today. Because that instruction that we've gotten from Guru, that's the life and soul for a devotee. In the Vishnu Dharmottara Purana. There's a verse which is quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Guru Shushushanam Nama Sarva Dharmottamottamam Tasmad Dharma Paro Dharma Pavitro Naiva Vidyate. That service to Gurudev, Guru Shushushanam Nama, that thing which is known as Guru Seva. Sarva Dham Uttam. What is the Uttam Dharma? What is the topmost Dharma? That's to serve the instruction of Guru. And the Bhagavatam says, Savai Pum Sampado Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Hoksuje. Dharma Mad Bhakti Krit Prokta. That this Dharma, Supreme Dharma, means to worship Krishna, but it's done through service to Gurudev, by accepting instruction of Gurudev. My Guru Maharaj in one class in Hartford, was it Hartford? No, it wasn't Hartford either. I went there twice. It's in the New York area. There's one small temple there. He gave a class in 1994 when I was there with him. And he said that unless you've gotten an instruction from your guru, you've been cheated. And I remember later, we printed that in one of our Krishna Katamrita magazines. And one Prabhupada disciple, sannyasi, senior devotee, one day he was with a group of devotees, and I went and gave him a copy of the magazine. This is a gift for you. And he happened to open up right to that place where my Guru Maharaj is saying, unless you've gotten a personal instruction, you've just been cheated. I don't know if he got a personal instruction. Actually, he did. But in any case, he became very annoyed reading that. He said, what kind of nonsense is this? That's not true. And anyway, I didn't argue with him. But there's general instructions and there's specific instructions. And I know for myself, as I mentioned, because I had a personal specific instruction from my Guru Maharaj, I'm still here somehow, because I have to follow that instruction of Gurudev. I may be very fallen, I may be very low, very unqualified, very offensive. You can make a big list. I'm all those bad things. But I have no choice. He trusted me. I have to do that service. And that service is like everything. And therefore, in the 80th chapter, the 10th canto, Krishna tells Sudama Vipra, Naham ija praja didyam tapasapasamayinava tushyayam sarvabhutatma guru sushushaya yata. That Krishna says that I'm that person who's the soul of all souls. I'm sarvabhutatma, but I'm not satisfied by someone who's doing some ija, some ritualistic worship, by Brahminical initiation, by tapasya, by doing austerities, or whatever, as much as I am by someone who's doing service to their guru. And that service especially means service, whatever instruction that I've gotten from Gurudev. My Guru Maharaj said, whatever your Gurudev has told you, has ordered you, you should execute it. Don't think otherwise. Don't add to it. Don't subtract to it. You just do it. Srila Prabhupada, many times he commented on how, when he read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on the Gita verse, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana bahusaka hinantascha buddhya vyavasayanam, that one should be one-pointed, Krishna says. And Vishwanath says, how do you do that? He says, by service to Gurudev. That's how I become one-pointed. And I see so many devotees, they love Krishna, they love Radhisham, and that's very nice, you have some love, but where is your love for Krishna's devotees? And if you don't appreciate the devotees, if you don't appreciate Gurudev, then what is all this? I don't know who Krishna is. I can come before the deity and I can say, wow, they're really decorated beautifully. And they're very nice, and Krishna's there. I'm supposed to pray to them. But it's not like I have a relationship in the way that I do with Gurudev. Gurudev is someone that I meet with, and Gurudev says, what are your problems? I tell him my problems. He gives me some instruction. He gives me some order that I should do this thing and that thing. He's in charge of my life, and I have a loving relationship with him. And by developing love for Gurudev, I'm going to develop love for Krishna. And I should love Krishna because Tate Krishna Bhaji Kori Guru Sevan. That's how I worship Gurudev, by worshiping Radhasham Sundar. Gurudev's very pleased. I know Shivaram Maharaj, when he comes to the temple and he sees how someone has decorated Radhasham Sundar so nicely, he becomes very, very pleased. And he watches, you know very well, he watches. And my Guru Maharaj, he had me engaged in serving Lord Jagannath. And I would wake up Jagannath in the morning, I would bathe him, do the Mangal Artik, and then I would bathe and dress Jagannath. And Darshan Artik, I was there doing the Artik, and he would come. And sometimes he would stop, a few times, and he'd call me over. So why did you put the nose ring on this side? It should go on the other side. He said one day, why you did this or this? And I was so happy, because Sri Vigrahara Dana Nityananda Shringaratan Mandira Marja Yukta Shibhaktams Chani Unjatopi. Gurudev's engaging the devotees. We can't do worship Radha Krishna. I can't. What am I doing? I don't know. But Gurudev told me to be here. So I'm coming. I don't know anything. My Guru told me to come here. So I'm doing what he told me. I'm offering the incense. I'm doing this thing and that thing. So such a very, very important principle. We should understand the principle of Guru, why Gurudev has come, what he's come to give. He's not just come just to be a popular person or to create a clique of people, a nice team. There may be a beautiful team around, but that's not his purpose in coming. His purpose in coming is to speak Krishna Katha. It's described by the poet Sanatan Das. It's a beautiful song, which we found in many Bengali Gaudiya Vaishnava songbooks. We don't know who wrote this. It almost certainly was not Sanatana Goswami, because Sanatana Goswami, to our knowledge, never wrote in Bengali, although he knew Bengali language. But this song is there in many, many songbooks. It's in older songbooks too. It's at least 400 or 500 years old. And he describes, the song is called Sri Guru Vandana. Ashraya Kuriya Vandon Sri Guru Charan. That I'm going to take shelter of Gurudev, the shelter of lotus feet. Jaha hoite mili by Krishna Prema Dan. Why do you do that? Because I want Krishna Prem. As we were saying, we all worship a deity, we do some worship, we're worshiping Gurudev. What do you want? Prabhupada would ask sometimes, what do you want? And maybe some devotees, one senior devotee once told me, he said, Madhavananda, you have to think about your career in ISKCON. I was very depressed that day. I didn't come here to make a career. I came here to surrender. I came here to do service. I came here because I want to get Krishna Prem. And that's the right answer. I want to serve Gurudev because I want Krishna Prem. Jivera Nishtara Lagi Nanda Sutta Hari. Nanda Sutta Hari, Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, has come, Jivera Nishtara Lagi, for the purpose of delivering the living entities. Bhuvane Prakashahana Guru Rupa Dari. And Guru Rupa Dari, he assumes, he adopts the form of Sri Gurudev. Krishna comes, and I should see, Krishna has come now in the form of Gurudev. This is Krishna who's coming to me, and I should treat him like that. Mahimaya Guru Krishna Eka Kori Jana. You should know in glory, in Mahima, Gurudev and Krishna are non-different. But then what's the difference? What does Gurudev come to do? Very important. Guru Agya. Guru Agya Hriday Sabha Satya Kori Mani. Gurudev has come to give instructions. Guru Vakya. To speak Krishna Katha. Otherwise there's no need for Guru. We can just worship Krishna directly, but Gurudev has come to tell us how to worship Krishna, to make a connection with us. So Guru Agya Hriday, I hear those instructions from Gurudev, and what do I do with them? Hriday, I put them in my heart, Satya Kori Mani, and I consider them to be divine reality, Satya Kori Mani. And he says, Satya Gyane Guru Vakye, someone who has firm faith, Jahara Vishvas, means very firm faith, in the words of Gurudev. Avasyatahara hoya brajabhumi bas. That person is living in Vrindavan. They're really a new Brajadam. Someone who's accepted the order of Gurudev and accepts the Gurudev's instructions. This is Krishna speaking through him. And this is the version of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Acharjara mata jay say mata sar. That the order, the mata is a beautiful word. Prabhupada translates it as order, but mata means the mood. Mata means the opinion. It's not just the instruction. Because sometimes also Gurudev may give some instruction. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta gave an instruction to Srila Prabhupada. Go to the West and preach. But for 40 years he didn't do it. But he didn't forget it. He kept it in his heart. And it's not just, and maybe some devotee may not be able to do it. Maybe he gets run over by a car or something and can't walk. He can't do something. But he doesn't forget that. And what's happening, what's being given, is not just an order, but it's a mata. Mata means the mood. I want to understand the mood of Gurudev. Not just some information, just I write down Gurudev said this and I put it really big on the wall. That's nice, that's good. We want to remember Gurudev's words, but we want to remember the mood of Gurudev's words. My Guru Maharaj told a story once that there was one guru traveling with his disciple, and they were on a ox cart on a very rough road. And the guru was sitting in the front, looking ahead, and the disciple was in the back of the cart. And the guru's suitcase, his bags, were in the back. And the guru told the disciple, watch those bags. Be careful and watch the bags. He said, yes, Gurudev. And so the disciple's watching the bags very carefully. And the cart is bouncing, banging, and the bags went flying off the cart. And the disciple's watching very carefully. And he doesn't say anything. Gurudev told me I should watch the bags very carefully. I should listen to what Gurudev says. So he's watching. And after 10 minutes or something, Gurudev noticed, hey, what happened to the bags? Oh, Gurudev, I was watching. You told me. The bags bounced off. They're back there. A few kilometers. And Gurudev chastising you, idiot. I told you to do this. We have to understand the mata. Not just the words and the information of what Gurudev is saying, but what is the mood of what Gurudev is saying. Acharya mata jay, the words, and here is saying acharya. Acharya is that person who's teaching by their behavior. We all, anyone who's initiated is serving an acharya. We have our founder acharya, Srila Prabhupada. That's for the whole movement. But aside from that, some devotees are serving Jayapataka Maharaj, some are serving Gopal Krishna Maharaj, some are serving Shivaram Maharaj, or my Guru Maharaj. There's so many different gurus. And each one of those gurus are acharyas for their disciples, not for everyone, but for those particular disciples. And for those disciples, acharya mata jay say mata sar. That mata, that instruction, say mata sar, it's the sar. It's the essence of everything. It's the essence of our spiritual life. Prabhupada translates that the order of the spiritual master is the active principle in spiritual life. The order of the spiritual master is the active principle in spiritual life. Tanra agya lange chale se ta asar. And someone who takes that order and tanra angya lange, they disobey that order. Then instead of the order is our sar, it's our essence, it's our everything, they become asar. Asar means useless. Sar is a nice word, it's also in the Odia language. Sometimes you see in Orissa, in Jagannath Puri or in Vrindavan, there you have these big pots of milk that they're cooking down. And you go, when I was in Govardhan not so long ago, we were getting hot milk every night from one of those persons. And then you ask them, I want some sar. The sar is the cream on the top. And they put some of that in there also. So that sar, that essence, it's the essence of our spiritual life, that mata, that order or that mood of Gurudev. And whatever Gurudev says, it may not make logical sense even. There's one story that there was one guru who ordered his disciple, hey, Chalo, you go out, you collect some firewood, because we're going to do yajna. And this is the function of the disciple traditionally, to go and collect firewood to do yajna. So the disciple went and he searched all day. And he couldn't get any firewood. And he came back and his guru said, so where's the firewood? He said, Guru Maharaj, I went to 3-4 villages. I went so many places, I couldn't find any firewood. I don't know where to go to look. His guru became angry with him and told him, go to hell. He said, yes, Gurudev. And the disciple was so sincere. Gurudev told me, go to hell. So he went to hell. And he was walking around, and he went up to one of the Yamadutas, said, I'm trying to find some firewood here. Can you? And the Yamadutas said, I don't think you belong here. And he went and brought Yamaraj. And the disciple, and said, my Gurudev told me to come here to get some firewood. And Yamaraj told him, he said, well, we have a lot of fire here. He said, but not so much firewood. People bring it with them. When they come. He said, but you don't belong here. You should come with me. And Yamaraj, one of the Mahajanas, took him by the hand and brought him back to his guru and told him, this is a Sat Shishya. This is a bona fide disciple. You told him to go to hell. You were just being sarcastic and angry, perhaps. But he took it seriously, and he accepted the order of Guru. We should see like that. We should have faith that Gurudev is a manifestation of Krishna. And if we don't have faith like that, that's okay. It's not an offense to see some Maharaj, some sadhu who has disciples and say, I don't see him like that. That's not an offense. It's an offense if you say something bad, that's a wrong thing to do. But you don't have to have faith in someone. But don't take initiation then. It would be kind of like somebody going to a girl and saying, I really want to become a Hungarian citizen. Will you marry me? And she's, and he tells her really honestly, I think you're really ugly. And I'm not attracted by you at all. But would you marry me? Most girls might slap him in the face. What kind of request is that? It's no less for someone to go to a sadhu and say, Maharaj, will you give me initiation? I really don't have faith in you. And they may not say it with words, but they don't really have faith. But I just need to get initiated because I'm tired of being Bhakta Mark. I want to have a spiritual name. I want to be accepted in this society. That's wrong. Don't do that. You're only hurting yourself. We should understand that Gurudev is a manifestation of Krishna. In the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, it's a beautiful verse, Yasya Sakshat Bhagavatiti Jnanadipa Prade Guru Marcha Sadiv Sutam Tasya Sarvam Kunjara Sochavat. Sarvam Kunjara Sochavat. Kunjara Sochavat, you may have heard that expression before, like the bathing of an elephant. An elephant in India, they'll take a nice bath, and then they come on the land and they take dirt and they spread it all over their body. So what's the value of the bath? That's Kunjara Sochavat. It's like the bathing of an elephant. And Yasya Sakshat Bhagavatiti Jnanadipa Prade Guru, we should understand that my guru is directly Krishna, because Jnanadipa Prade Guru, he's giving transcendental knowledge. And if Marcha Sadi Shrutam, if I start seeing him as an ordinary person, I see Guru Maharaj, he was very tired. He fell asleep in the class. Or Guru Maharaj he has some bodily problems. I have bodily, obviously he's not a sadhu. Someone may think like that. If they start thinking that way, then whatever they've gotten from their guru, Sarvam Kunjara Sochavat, it becomes like the bathing of an elephant. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Sarta Darshani gives a real intense commentary on this. I'll read you. He says, Kim cha satyam bhuyasyam api bhakto guru manusha buddhit ve sarvam eva vyartam bhavatityaha yasyeti. That it's essential to understand that if whatever you may be doing, whatever devotional practices you may be doing, even you may be doing in very intense devotional practices, if you think Guru Manusha Buddhidve, that Gurudev is an ordinary person, then Sarvam Eva Vyartam, everything becomes useless, whatever you're doing. Sakshat Bhagavatiti Bhagavad Angsa Buddhir Api Guru Nakaryeti Bhavaha. He said the verse is describing that. He said the words Sakshat Bhagavatiti in this verse clearly indicate that we should see Gurudev as Krishna, not Matsyakarma Varaha Nrsimha or an expansion of the Lord, but directly as Krishna. He is Krishna, not even an expansion of Krishna. Bhagavad Angsa Buddhi Api Guru Nakaryeti Bhavaha. Don't even think of him like that. And he says that Yadva Upashi Bhagavat Eva Sakshad Vidyamane Marcha Sadi Marcha Iti Durbudistasya Shrutam Bhagavan Mantradikam Shravana Manadikam Cha Vyartam Ityartaha. He says, if you think that he's just an ordinary person, then whatever things you've gotten from Gurudev, whatever mantras you've gotten, if you have this durbuddhi, that this attitude that Marcha Sadi, that Gurudev is an ordinary person, then Bhagavan Mantradikam, whatever mantras you've gotten of Krishna. So I have one friend who told me, said, Prabhu, I've collected all these different mantras. I have a Nityananda Gayatri. There's a Radharani Gayatri. Would you like that? And I didn't want to hurt his feelings. I said, that's really nice. Said, yeah, sure, thank you. And he wrote it down in WhatsApp and sent it to me. I don't know, I didn't even save it, I don't think, much less chanted it, because I want mantra from my Gurudev. And I may accept someone, if I may take a mantra from someone, but that person is my guru. So you're chanting a mantra. It's not just that, this is a really cool thing, a Nityananda Gayatri. Wow, Radharani Gayatri. That's really good stuff. My Gurudev didn't give me Radharani Gayatri. I want a Radharani Gayatri. We're not just doing it because it's a cool thing. We're doing it because this is what Gurudev has given me. And Gurudev knows the medicine to give. But if I think I have this Marcha Sadi, Marcha Iti Durbuddhis, this Durbuddhi, where I think my Gurudev is an ordinary person, then Bhagavan Mantradikam, the mantra becomes useless. Shravana Manadikam, whatever hearing I've done. I heard I got the Bhaktivedanta test. I passed everything. I've heard so many kathas, and it all becomes useless. Chavyartam ityartaha. No matter how many services we've done, all those things become completely useless if we don't try to serve Gurudev, if we don't see that Gurudev is a manifestation of Krishna. So this is what Narottam Das Thakur is speaking about in this verse today. Maybe I'll read the verse again and we'll go ahead and stop. There's so many things. We could go on and on and on. I like this subject matter very much. Where's it at? That's the previous one. Here we go. I'll show it on the board again. If devotees have any comments or questions, we can go ahead. Ahankara abhimana asat sangha asat jnana chadi bhaja guru pada padma koro atmanivedan deha geha parijan guru bhakya parama mahatva. Give up false ego and pride. Give up bad association in endeavoring for useless material knowledge. Worship the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Surrender your body, home, and family members unto him. The words from the lotus mouth of our guru are supremely important. So we'll go ahead and stop there. And if anybody has any reflections or comments or questions, online or offline here, you can go ahead. Otherwise, well. Nilamada Prabhu, nice to see you again there. Hare Krishna. Kaliya Krishna Prabhu, you're being nice to your wife, I hope?
I'm really trying, Prabhu. I think she's
I can't hear
quite
you.
happy.
Nice to see you. Hare Krishna. Kali Krishna Prabhu. Sorry about that. It's an echo. Okay. Kali Krishna Prabhu, you want to share something? You've been good?
No, just thank you for the wonderful kata. It was uh, very comprehensive. It was very awesome.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I know your Guru Maharaj should be very, very happy. You go out and do book distribution, you go out and do Harinam. Janananda Maharaj lives for that. That's his life and soul. Okay, anybody with anything else? Anybody here? Otherwise, Gaurni Tai Prabhu, you're here. I'm sitting here in New Brajadam, and I think all the devotees here are unhappy with you that you're not coming here anymore and giving your association. So I think you should say something nice in Hungarian to pacify them, and I'll show them your picture. You want to do that? See, we have some wonderful devotees with us today.
Hare Krishna, kedves bakták, látom, nagyon jól érzitek magatokat Magyarországon. Nálatok egy kicsit melegebb van, mint itt, úgyhogy szuper. Hát, amit Madhavendra Prabhu mondott, hogy Gurudev itt tart engem, mert most üres ez a hely, aztán amint valaki ide jön, akkor majd igyekszem veletek is találkozni, úgyhogy bízzatok benne. Küldjetek ide valakit. Küldjetek ide valakit Majapurba. Jó? Haribol.
I've heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard a rumor that devotees here were raising up money to hire a group of SEAL Team 6 paratroopers to go to Mayapur to kidnap you and bring you back to New Brajadam. I don't know if that's true or not. But really we should know Gaurni Tai Prabhu is there in Mayapur because Shil Shivaram Maharaj told him.
That's what you just said.
Acha, okay. All right. So everything's okay, Gaurni Tai Prabhu?
Yeah.
Good.
I want to
Nice
ask
see
you
your
a
face,
question,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Okay.
Can I have a question? Short question. I have a friend
Please.
who have difficulties to build up relationship senior Vaishnavas because, and that's fact that devotees not necessarily attain prema, and then they have some attachment, some anatas also, but still they started to give instruction to others. So to choose a guru, you will find someone who is not fully purified. So how can I help this friend who cannot really fully trust a person who visibly have some attachment, but otherwise a nice devotee, senior devotee?
It's the same problem parents have. Sometimes when they're young, they're like pure devotees. They're so nice and this and that. We're very happy. And then they get about 18 or 16 even or something. And maybe they want to go with some girl. They want to do this thing or that. And we feel very sad. Huh? But the thing is, parents have to understand, I don't own them. And it's a voluntary thing on their part. And sometimes devotees, they change. They may have some difference, and you can't tell someone you should like this person, you should not like this person. We can tell them about the kind of qualities of an ideal guru. And my Guru Maharaj said once that if they have a lot of faith in you, and only if they have a lot of faith in you, and you see they're associating with someone who has bad character, someone who has bad behavior, but they're acting as guru, and maybe my friend doesn't know that. If I'm very close with them, I may take them aside and say something. But if I'm not very close with them, and I try to say something, then it'll probably destroy my friendship. That, oh, you're a demon, why are you speaking against Maharaj? You're nonsense, you're this and that. Just like children. A boy is wanting to go with a girl, and that girl has a very bad reputation. She's been with many different boys, and you try to tell your son, it's really not I don't think that's a good girl for you to go with. No, you leave me alone. You don't know. I like her. She's good. And they don't listen to you. And all it does is it makes your relationship worse. So the best thing that we can do is act by our behavior and show that I want to be serious about who I accept as guru. And I want to accept a guru, not just someone who's going to look good in the society, but someone who's serving Srila Prabhupada, who's taken Prabhupada's instructions, especially Prabhupada's very important instructions of book distribution, Prabhupada's instructions of doing Harinam and spreading Krishna consciousness. Someone's very, very serious about that. I want to be with somebody like that, not just someone who looks good or can talk really fancy or this or that. I want someone who has some substance. That's the most important thing we can do. Aside from that, all that we can do, if we're close, we can say something. We can certainly speak philosophy. It's legal. I was speaking something about sannyas and 4 different types of sannyasis and things. And one of my godbrothers, who was a grihastha, was decided he wanted to take sannyas. He got this, we call it sannyas rogue in Odia language, the disease, I want to become a sannyasi. Some devotees get that. So he had that attitude. He never took sannyas. That's another story. But he got angry with me. He said, "You can't talk about sannyas. How dare you talk about that? You're just a grihastha." But of course I can talk about it. We should be able to speak about it. It doesn't matter what ashram you're in. Everybody should be able to speak on the Bhagavatam and on our philosophy and things. So we have a license to speak about it. But they may hear from us, they may not hear from us. And then my suggestion is the best thing is just to love them and be kind friends with them. And if it's really a problem, the worst thing that'll happen, their guru falls down, or they lose faith in their guru. They see there's persons like this or that. If you've maintained a loving friendship with them, they'll come back to you. And they'll say, what should I do? Then you can speak to them, just like your son. If you try to tell him, don't go with that girl, and he doesn't have faith in you, he may break your relationship. But you don't say anything, and you just keep your relationship with him, then later they come and say, "Dad, I could see you didn't like that girl, did you? I should have asked you. I should have listened." It's a sensitive thing to try to instruct someone about some other sadhu, and I think it's a very dangerous thing. It can be offensive because also maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I heard something bad about Yadu Kumar Prabhu, some people saying some different things, and I repeat that. But maybe it was just a stupid rumor. Maybe he's actually really a nice devotee. And I'm concerned with something, and you don't associate with that guy, I'll tell him, but maybe it was just a dumb rumor, that's all. So we also have to respect people's right to make mistakes. Our children, they have a right to make mistakes, to get married who they want to marry, and it's really painful. It's so painful because we just love them and we want the very best for them, and then we see, not that girl, oh my God, not that boy, oh dear, and we can see it, but maybe they can't. Is that helpful, Granithai Prabhu? What do you think?
Yeah, I will try.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anybody else with anything? Otherwise, Mataji, yes, somebody?
I would like to ask a question, please. Give up our false ego and our pride is a process, and mostly it's a long process. And so we are beginning. We are in a deep illusion, and we are not understand what is the false ego and pride, because we have some austerities. And at the level of the anartha vritti, Krishna starts to purify more intensely our false ego and the pride and everything that is not so bhakti. And and how we can inspire and convince devotees who are afraid of this stage of bhakti, and they refuse it and stop the process because they don't understand what happens. So how we can convince and inspire them to continue?
First of all, sometimes ironically we see there's some devotees who advertise it. They're very proud that I've given up my false ego. I have no false ego now. I'm such an amazing person. What's the value of that? So we teach by, that's the meaning of acharya, someone who teaches by their achar, their behavior. Prachar, the prefix pra means something special. It means, prachar means special behavior. It means preaching, we usually translate as preach, but literally means special behavior. I always like to quote St. Francis of Assisi in the Christian tradition. He told his followers, you should preach, and if necessary, use words. That's prachar. That's someone who's an acharya. So sometimes, quite often, people become afraid of those things. Even many of us were afraid. Even Prabhupada, in his humility, he said, I was afraid that my Guru Maharaj wanted me to take sannyas. What kind of fear that was, what that meant, I don't think it's the same kind of fear that we have. But Prabhupada, being kind to us, spoke like that. We also may have some fear to give up our anarthas and things. So how do we do things? In Bhagavatam, probably the verse I quote the most, 11.330, is described, Parasprana katanam pavanam bhagavad yasamito ratamitas tushta nivita mita atmana. Based on Sridhar Swami's commentary on this verse, he says that one should learn how to associate with devotees. And we do that by hearing Krishna Katha. And by hearing Krishna Katha, Sridhar Swami in his commentary explains that we come close to each other, we learn to trust each other when we speak honest Krishna Katha, and then we open up our hearts and we say, you know, I am inspired. I'm going to stop going to the movie theater. I'm going to stop eating outside food in outside restaurants or something. I'm inspired with it. And then some other devotee hears it, well, yeah, I'll do the same thing too. So that giving up anarthas, if we put it in kind of an institutional level, that we have these four regulated principles, and if you're going to take initiation, you must do this. Sometimes it's not very inspiring for devotees. It becomes just like a torture or something, or a chore, some work that I have to do just to be part of the society. And then quite oftentimes devotees, sometimes they're doing bad things behind the scenes. They don't really, because they just do it to be accepted. But this verse 11.330 of the Bhagavatam describes that when we hear nice Krishna Katha, it inspires us. We Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtan Hridyantya Soya Badani. It purifies our heart. And then we speak with devotees, and they say, well, I gave up this thing, well, I can do it too. That's the natural system. And that's the system that Bhaktivinoda Thakur presents in Jaiva Dharma, where he speaks about one Mayavadi sannyasi from Benares, who was on the platform, as I recall, a Paramahamsa. He surpassed Kutichak and Bahudak and Parivajak. He was traveling, he knew Shastra like anything. And one day, he saw some strange person, a sadhu, in Benares, with strange tilak. He's used to Tripundra, 3 lines. But this guy had 2 lines going up, and he was crying. What kind of sadhana is that? He was crying and rolling on the ground and calling out, ha, ha, Gauranga, ha, Gauranga. And then he disappeared. And that Mayavadi sannyasi became a devotee because of that. he started asking people, who's that guy? Oh, that's one of those Hare Krishna people. They live in Mayapur, and so he went to Mayapur. When he arrived in Mayapur, you get the impression, Bhaktivinoda doesn't give dates, but you get the impression that he was there for quite a long while. At least it seems like a few months, maybe a year or two. And he was still wearing his Mayavad dress. And one day he came to some of the devotees and said, I'd like to dress like you guys. In the Vaishnava. And they said, that's not important. You work on the inside and the outside will come automatically. That was more of a traditional kind of thing. Now I know for preaching, many times we wear the 4 regulated principles on our sleeve. And the first one is like this, and the second one is like this, and the third and fourth like this. And that's necessary in the West to some extent. It's necessary because then people will behave off, they'll understand what they're getting into, they have something they can work towards and things. But on the other hand, just to speak very frankly, it's not always so natural. What a natural system is that when they become convinced in their heart, I don't want this anymore. I'm going to give this thing up. And there's no pressure that you have to do that. You have to dress this way right away. Now, let it come from the inside, work its way out. That's my humble thought about it. And I know that that's not always what our preachers do, and our preachers may be correct in their behavior in the West here, but this is what Bhaktivinoda says, and I appreciate that traditional system is what Bhagavatam says. Is that okay, Mataji? Yo? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Thank you all very much, and everybody's invited to come and have darshan to Radhasham Sundar, and especially Gauni Tai Prabhu. They may kidnap you and lock you up in the Goshala something. Whenever I come here to New Brajadam and I see the cows, especially, I think of Gauni Tai Prabhu. You see the cows are crying. They look very sad, and I know why they're sad. They're missing Gauni Tai Prabhu. Okay, so thank you all very much, and we'll try to do this again next week. Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vinda ki, Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol, Vanchakopa Darubhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bhyeva Chapatitanam, Pavanebhyo, Vaishnava.